The Tortoise and the Hare. Free version of the Aesop's Fable. In a neighbourhood in the countryside, not very far from the city, some animals lived in the most perfect harmony. Every day, Mr. Fox greeted Mrs. Owl. Mr. Stag chatted with Mrs. Lizard, and Mr. Parrot told good jokes to Mrs. Frog. And so life went by without big surprises. But on a certain day, the hare woke full of herself and found nothing better to do than to tease her neighbour, the tortoise. "Good morning. How are you, the slowest of my friends?" she asked. "I've slept fine," answered the tortoise. The hare insisted arrogantly. "Sure you have. Sleeping is the only thing you know how to do." The tortoise said calmly, "I don't know what the matter is with you, my friend, but I don't intend to quarrel. I'd prefer to go for a walk." "Then hurry up, or you will take several weeks," the hare continued rudely. So the little tortoise, tired of these provocations, challenged the hare. "I don't mind what you think of me, but if I wanted to, I could race you and win. So, what do you think?" The hare laughed her head off. She laughed heartily for several minutes, and finally, after wiping her tears with a small handkerchief, she exclaimed, "My answer is yes. I accept your challenge, my dear tortoise. Choose the date for the race." "Tomorrow," said the reptile, going back home. The following day, none of the animals wanted to miss such an important sports event, so they all gathered near the starting line. Mr. Weasel, who was wearing a polka-dotted tie especially for such an occasion, ordered, "On your marks, get set, go!" The hare raced off swiftly, and in less than a minute she was out of sight. The tortoise instead took a sip of water, yawned, and only then started to move slowly and rhythmically, with a smile on her face. At the side of the track, as the tortoise passed by, the animals talked about the race's progress. "She'll never win," said Mr. Frog. "She won't even take 10 steps forward," remarked Mrs. Hummingbird. "It would be a miracle if she covered 100 meters before Christmas," howled Mr. Coyote. In the treetops, the birds also voiced their opinions. "Do you think the tortoise has the slightest chance of winning?" a goldfinch asked one another. "I bet the hare has already reached the finish line," said a blackbird perching on another branch. By then, several kilometers ahead, the hare looked back just to confirm that nobody was around, and then she decided to run slower. "There's no point in quickening my pace," the hare said to herself. "Nobody runs as fast as I do." After a few more steps, she let out a laugh and added, "Actually, I don't even need to run. I'll win this absurd race anyway." The hare decided to trot, but soon she was just walking. So, whistling nonchalantly, she covered another large portion of the road. When the hare had covered half the way, she started to feel sleepy. "This calmness invites me to take a nap," she thought. "What can go wrong? The tortoise is so slow." Without further thinking, the hare lay down under a tree and fell asleep. While the hare dreamt of the delicious carrots she was going to eat after the race, the tortoise kept her slow pace. Step after step, she kept covering 1 kilometer after the next. It took her quite a long time, but the tortoise finally reached the place where the hare was sleeping, and silently she left her behind. Another hour went by, and the tortoise kept walking steadily until the moment when she saw the finish line in the distance. By then, the hare had awoken from her nap. What a surprise when she realized, from the distance, that the tortoise had overtaken her. The hare rose and started to run fiercely. She pushed herself, but it was in vain. The tortoise had reached the finish line and won the race. The hare admitted the defeat and congratulated her opponent, and she never again made fun of her friend the tortoise.